EmpauR would like to advise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander listeners that the following podcast may mention names of people who have gone before us into the stars and the dreaming. EmpauR acknowledges the Gimuy-walubrra indinji people whose traditional lands this podcast has been recorded on. We pay our respects to the ongoing cultural connection that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people continue to hold with the land, sea and wind.
Mayam, Sel Napa. Welcome to today's episode, Kinship, A Family's Voice, the final episode of our podcast series. In today's episode, we're delving into a crucial aspect of our lives, family responsibilities for caregiving. We will explore how cultural and kinship ties play a significant role in shaping caregiving dynamics and how these traditions and values influence these responsibilities, strengthening the connections between individuals. Join us as Bala Reggie Power yarns once more with Arab Island Elder Uncle Poi Pensio and Baru Island Emerging Elder Bala Gerald Bowie about the importance of the kinship voice when caring for elders. Together, they will share insights on the positive impacts and the value of ensuring that this vital voice is heard in our communities. Get ready to explore the fascinating realm of caregiving as we unravel the mysteries of family bonds and responsibilities.
What cultural protocols should aged care provider be mindful of when interacting with Torres Strait Islander elders and family?
Kinship is a broader word. It's a book. Kinship is made of all these sections where we work off. It's like a guide, and it's our law, LORE. I think if you work with that broader guide and the mainstream, you will have no problem, no risk, no errors. What I'm trying to say is when you do have communication, awareness with the community, it's got to be transparent, it's got to be open, it's got to be honest, because we'll be exchanging words each other and sharing words, and it's gonna confirm that this journey will go a long way. If you are connecting not only to the people current, you're also connecting to the ancestors, and you're also connecting to God.
First, from an elder point of view, the cultural protocol to an aged care service provider would be as to respect the elders in care and the family that involved must recognize their culture, the way they live, the way they operate. That need to take into consideration and to integrate with your protocol in terms of how you provided care to us. For example, when a care provider is given care and when questioned by community, the answer always, we abide by the organization protocol. This is the way we have to look after the patient. So in terms of respect our cultural protocol, they have to respect the family way of living. And a lot of time, a lot of instance, it questioned the way the services are provided by the organization. So in order for our cultural protocol to be recognized, again, it has to be 50% both ways. 50% protocol of the organization and 50% protocol of the family values and the way we provide services to our care, our elders. If that can met to a certain degree, then I think the cultural protocol, it's been achieved from our point of view, the way you provided care for us.
How does the concept of kinship influence the way Torres Strait Islander families traditionally provide care for the elders, and how can aged care service better respect and incorporate these values?
Elderly group is one of the topic which we have to respect day and night. These guys are important. It mentioned before that they are wisdom, they are strength. Now in the kinship, it's clearly stated that we have to have a respect, we have to have the love, and we have to look after them. So one of the things in the topic is calling people by name, like uncle is awa, ate mean grandfather. So in that respect, we'll have to use those terms when we're coming across. One of the biggest things I found is when I deal with elderly group, I'm cautious what words I use, I'm careful what I say, and I also respect their views when they're coming across. So I'll be respecting who's the translator. with our elderly people, which is the organization, the aged care. I will respecting their views as well, because they are the translators to our people. So overall respect is there, and overall love. We know these people, how important are they to the community and families. So when I grew up in my family, I got to really know the kinship principles and the rules on my upbringing. That's what made me a man.
So I suppose our family values and life in the Torres Strait, we operate under the kinship structure in terms of discipline, in terms of education, in terms of training, in terms of managing our affairs. The kinship setting in our families are very important. The elders, they've got their part and responsibility to play around education, discipline. The parents have their own responsibility. But in terms of the kinship setting, in terms of discipline, the key part is uncle and auntie. They got the key role in terms of discipline and passing down information around educating young ones. For example, my children, I got responsibility so far to teach them. But some of the deeper things, my kids, is my brothers and sisters' responsibility. My parents, they got responsibility around for my kids. So when our elders get into the care setting, that kinship setting now become reversible. You reverse the kinship setting in terms of care for our elders in the community, in the aged care setting. For example, why I'm saying this is because some elders, when they go into the aged care facilities now, the responsibility then can be the grandchildren, not the children anymore. But it depends on which family. That's how the kinship setting is operating, especially in the eastern part of Torres Strait, especially Daniel Island. So in terms of care and education now, the elders going to the community now, they tend to lean more to grandchildren opposed to their children. So there are portions in terms of the care that need to be included into the aged care setting around the kinship, has to take that into consideration. It's not the children anymore. Sometimes you become the grandchildren. That's part of the care that need to provide it in the aged care setting. So that need very important to take into consideration the kinship, how it's unfold in terms of the care, the evaluation, the service provision, the decision making. So the way we live in community, the kinship is operate very different in terms of when you go into aged care. Yeah, that need to take must understand that. Because the grandchildren will look and respect the grandchildren more to their children. So the aged care setting, the care is very different in terms of the kinship setting.
How can taking care of loved ones strengthen family bonds in Torres Strait Islander communities, and what advice would you give to the younger generation on preserving kinship tradition in aged care?
Well, this is my number one rule that I have to teach my kid, to uphold those values and to uphold kinship. If you don't walk with it, if you don't live with it, it doesn't identify you as who you are. So the overall thing I want to say is that we got to grow in this with it, walk with it, and obey kingship, because it's been set by our ancestors through our grandfathers to our fathers, and it's something that will be passed on over generation and generation. If you don't apply it now, we've lost it.
Well, I think in a nutshell, our cultural protocol, our way of living, it has to be part of the organization policies and procedures. And the way forward, the organization or individual that a care provider has to respect our culture, our beliefs, our way of living, our tribes, our totem. That need to be recognized. And also the organization has to involve elders every month in terms of provide the cultural advice, in terms of implementing whatever protocol they got in place that recognize our culture. The cultural orientation has to be provided on a monthly basis to that organization in order to keep our culture alive within the organization. That has to take part in all our ceremonies and rituals when they invited, and must respect our rights and our culture. Not by word, not just only talk about it, but put it into action. That's my final advice. That's what I want to see a way forward for any organization.
Lastly, so if a non-Indigenous employee would come on board, what do you think one of the first things that they would know about the organization as to how to care for a Torres Strait Islander elder?
They have to understand the cultural protocol that's been written into the organization, if there's one. If not, the organization has to have an elder within the community setting or someone responsible for passing or educate them around our cultural protocol, how to give care for our people. They also need to understand that which elders in the setting that they're going to provide care to, they need to meet the family and sit with them and to go through the protocol in terms of caregiving.
As we conclude this episode, we trust that you'll walk away with a deeper understanding of the multifaceted world of caregiving and family responsibilities. Whether you're a caregiver, a recipient of care, or simply curious about the dynamics of family bonds, we hope this episode has provided you inspiration and reflection. So, without further ado, let's delve deeper into the heart of caregiving, exploring how traditions, values, and responsibilities interweave to create powerful connections within families. Funding for this podcast has been provided by the Council on the Ageing Queensland Home Care Workforce Support Consortium as part of the Home Care Workforce Support Program, which was funded through grant funding from the Australian Government.